Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another playoff championship run. We are in season 4 and we're down to our last 4 competitors, Calamity, and we've got our first matchup, Raidman versus Orpheus. For us, are you excited for this one?
Yeah, this is probably one of the more clear-cut ones that we've got
Mm.
two, and this is a more clear-cut one of the two. Um, Raidman, winner of last season, also finalist of season 2, so he's got plenty of experience in the playoffs. And for Orpheus, it's his first appearance here, but he was fifth last season as well, so it's not like he's a complete newcomer to the upper regions of this competition. Um, but you gotta say Raidman is the slight favorite. Of course, it also is always depends a bit on the seed, how difficult it is gonna be. If there's some luck involved, maybe Orpheus has a chance to get in there and maybe get a win out of this matchup. But in any other case, I can't really see Raidman losing it, except maybe if it's an incredibly easy seed and it really
Mm.
comes down to a couple of meters, then I can see it go Orpheus' way too. But other than that, it's hard to really get past Raidman, even though, like, just in terms of average points and therefore in terms of total score over the course of the regular season, Orpheus has been fantastic and finished
Yeah.
second in terms of that, just 20 points behind Raidman. But probably Orpheus might struggle a bit in terms of nerves against someone like Raidman. You really can't afford to make any mistake. And with your first playoff appearance and 3 minute rounds, that can really can really hinder you.
Definitely. Yeah. Raidman's high level is often pretty obvious. Plenty of perfect games, 33 aces across all of the games this season. And Orpheus has really good consistency, but lacks that kind of upper edge. You might say that would give him an advantage in a match. But again, as we always say, it comes down to the seed. And the seed we are playing on is from an AI generated world by Rolling Hill. It is our last map pretty much every season now in our first round of the playoffs here. Average score about 15,000 and a half. Been played just over 70,000 times. Plenty of locations, 85,770, according to the map maker in the description. Uh, Things have been adjusted, so we're going to see more of bigger countries and whatnot, Calamity, in this one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. I think the map in this matchup in particular doesn't even matter too much because Raidman is just good at everything,
Mm.
and Orpheus is pretty much as well looking at the regular season. The only thing that, in my opinion, really could make a difference is how rural the locations might be. Um, Apart from that, I don't really think it would have mattered if we play a world map or any other world map, for example, or any normal country map.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. So definitely be an interesting one to see how things shape up. And let's just get right into it and see if Raidman can defend his title starting now, or if Orpheus is going to cause an upset. And right at the start,
Yeah,
beautiful
speaking of
sign.
rural,
Well, at least we know the
yeah,
country, Indonesia.
yep,
So,
that is a start. Probably not the start. I mean, I don't know actually. I wanted to say not the start they'd been hoping for, but Indonesia is definitely a country that can make a big difference, and we'll see if it does.
mm,
It does look like the sort of area where you might not find any good information anytime soon. Sort of a very rural but not completely desolate region. Probably close to um close to some, not major population, but close to some city, maybe somewhere in the region. Because usually you see that because there isn't that many houses, but they go on for a long while. Usually
mm,
like very remote towns are relatively concise, and because you can walk there for a long time and still see houses somewhere on the left, somewhere on the right, that usually points you towards not too far away from a bigger population center.
mm. And yeah, a couple of nice signs they've been looking at, trying to pick out what region. And I think that does have a region name on that sign.
I couldn't read it perfectly. It
Yeah,
might have, it definitely told them like probably the small town he's in.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, similar to what Raidman's looking at right now. It tells him the town he's in, but other than that, there's nothing really that would tell them the general region.
But Raidman does think we're on the eastern island, so to speak, somewhere near
Borneo
maybe
is
a
its name.
river. Borneo. I mean, I guess it's the name of the whole island, but kind of it's divided up
Oh,
interestingly.
Barito is the name of the river here. And because the small town slash village here is called Barito Kuala, or maybe Barito, maybe Kuala means river. Let me actually look that up.
Mm-hmm. I think definitely Raidman has caught on to that clue and has been now scanning the river side, looking for anything that might match the little town name he's got. And it looks like Orpheus has it as well, but hasn't found where the river is. Doesn't quite know to look on Borneo. Now he's gonna move over there. But again,
Yeah,
looking.
from what I've looked up, Kuala doesn't actually have any. It says here Kuala is estuary. I don't know what estuary means in English, but one more
River.
translation here. Oh, okay, I see. So it sort of has something to do with rivers, but
Mm-hmm. And time will run out, and Raidman will be just off of it, kind of not really having time to pinpoint a whole lot after it took him most of the round just to find the location. But 4,996 for him. And yeah, in the end, Orpheus, a bit unfortunate, was sort of close, so to speak, but Indonesia is a pretty big country. 2,736. So even on the right island, I believe, but just at the wrong side of it, cost him quite a bit against Raidman. So that's going to be really hard to make up, Calamity.
yeah, definitely. I think unless he, well, even saying like if he gets another round like this, that's super difficult. Chances are Raidman's still gonna find at least sort of the general area. So it might already be over here for Orpheus. We never know. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing that happened there with the river. I don't know if like still even looking at it now, not sure Koala really tells you something that there's a river. I mean, you can kind of look at something like Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. I mean, I know different country, but
Mm.
I just looked it up. There's no river called Lumpur, so it doesn't necessarily always tell you there's a river nearby. But maybe Raymond just recognized the name of it.
Yeah, and it wasn't too far off of a major city, so maybe that was something he had seen in the past, where he was in a larger city, knew the river name that was next to it, and then just kind of put two and two together for that one. And we'll see how things shape up, and if Orpheus can start his comeback in round number 2. And well, again, country pretty obvious at the start. We are in Nigeria with that follow car.
Yeah, and this one usually, considering they're in a city, probably won't make a big difference here. Usually
Okay.
in Nigerian cities, you'll find out where you are relatively quickly. And Alulu Nike, that's actually something we've had.
Mm-hmm.
Where did we have that? It was in a Division 2 seed. There, I mean, it literally tells you there, Enugu. But I don't think I can remember which seed it was that
Yeah,
had
we've had
that.
a couple rounds where we were in the, especially in the African week, where we were in Enugu. So
Yeah, it
name
might have been
probably,
Africa, now that
yeah,
you mention it.
name does look quite familiar.
Yep.
And we've got search point of interest, which is always helpful. And a lot of small addresses. So now it's going to be a matter of getting that neighborhood down for both of them.
Yeah, Raymond has essentially got a full address there.
And he is in the right area.
Yep, he's on the right road even.
And Orpheus checking around Enugu just to make sure, but maybe not really confident in this. I don't know why. I think he's
And the
maybe
thing
thinking
is,
it's around Enugu, like in the state, and not in the actual
yeah,
city.
the state is called Enugu as well.
Mm.
But usually, not always, but usually in Nigeria, if it's talking about the state, it will actually say state on the signs as well. Um,
I do remember
so
that from our African matchup.
yep. So in this case, it's pretty safe to assume you're in Enugu itself, or like, in a suburb of it.
And Raidman's essentially got it. He's seen a couple points of interest he's already seen on the map. Now he just has to get that exact location with a minute left to go. Orpheus kind of, I guess, missing that fact that it doesn't say state and is focusing on the state and not the city, and is slowly losing time to find that neighborhood. But even then, as Raidman will get an ace with 30 seconds left, Orpheus is not willing to spend too much time in the town itself looking for that neighborhood.
Yeah, I think what Orpheus is failing in quotation marks at here is that he's seen a lot of signs saying Alulu Nike, and there's a Bakpa Nike here. So he thinks like, okay, the Alulu Nike is probably a town name somewhere else then, considering its similarity. But it isn't. And he is actually pretty close to the right location.
Yeah, I mean, it is a world map and he is in the right city, so even if he doesn't quite pinpoint it, he won't lose too many points, as you can see there, 4,992. But that doesn't get him any closer to closing that gap against Raidman after he gets a perfect score on this one, Calamity.
Yeah, it was never going to be too many points up and down here in the Nigeria round inside of a city. Definitely Orpheus has to hope for some more interesting round to come up in the last three. I mean, it kind of has to be a super difficult round if he wants to make up points on Raidman, but then again, he also has to find it himself.
Certainly does, as we'll get into round number 3, and pretty obvious, we're in Chile right at the start, so 3 countries given to them without much effort. And another urban location.
It's probably not the round Orpheus was really hoping for here.
Nope.
Get some points back, although probably I don't actually know when they played specifically, as Raidman there found that it's an Ikike on the grass, basically on a roundabout. But yeah, maybe if Orpheus doesn't know that he's already about 2,200 points behind, then maybe he wouldn't be feeling bad and wouldn't be, having stress. But at the same time, as always, you probably have to assume that Raidman found everything.
Yeah, I think going into a world map, you assume Raidman's getting an ace in every round, and you have to catch up if you drop any significant number of points. Remember, there is no tie in this one, as it is a playoff, and Raidman already, with that city name in the grass roundabout, gets another ace for this one.
Yeah, this one's a fairly easy one to pinpoint since it's on the coastline of Iquique that goes northeast southwest, which is a fairly short coastline, and there's only really one roundabout there.
And there's Iquique a couple times for Orpheus, and he will recognize that and zoom right into the coastline as well. So again, even if he doesn't quite pinpoint this one in a minute and a half, not going to drop too many more points, given that it is a world map. But he'll definitely want a much harder round in round 4, something that he hopes he can find and that Raidman will struggle with. For sure. He's got quite a few points to make up.
Yeah, and I think this is where the nerves are coming into it. He's got the coastline wrong, the direction of it. He's still got a minute to...
But it's not quite the right roundabout.
Probably safe to assume in a major city like Iquique, there's probably more than one.
Yeah. He's still got about a minute left to go, but you can see how frantically he is moving. Definitely feeling the pressure there. That's a much better looking roundabout.
It's still on the wrong coastline.
Yep. But
actually, his closest guess so far was the first time he put his pin down before he moved it away.
There you go. See, the coast is to our west there. The road heading pretty much north-south along that.
More so northeast, southwest. But yeah, pretty straight. He still doesn't seem to be paying attention to the direction of the road, which is going to cost him a few more points here.
There we go. Time will run out. He'll just be a little bit too far south again, dropping 7 points this time, 4,993. And yeah, the kind of round 2 and 3, not too bad for Orpheus. Still kind of hurting from that first round, Calamity. He's only got 2 more rounds to make it up. And or Raidman is looking up to the challenge of a repeat and defending his title.
Yeah, and this definitely must have been nerves come into play here because this is sort of a beginner mistake where you don't check which way the road goes when you're trying to pinpoint. Um, and yeah, maybe just from how badly in quotation marks he did in round one. I say badly in quotation marks because he didn't actually have any information really to work with. So it wasn't like he did super badly. He was just a bit unlucky, maybe. That Raidman knew more about Indonesian than he did. And yeah, with that, maybe I don't know, getting a bit un uncareful is not a word. Um,
Careless.
yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
careless.
Yeah, not checking all the boxes as we'll jump into round number 4. A bit lost in his own head as we're looking at another South American round, but slightly more rural than the last one.
Yep. Took me about 5 seconds to remember what round we literally just had.
Yeah. Oh, definitely looking like some Argentinian road sign.
There's actually a road number over there, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
9.
And there we go. RA Argentina, the 9 will be very helpful for Raidman.
Yeah. Some city names
and
on there as well with
Municipality de Olivia
distances.
as well.
Yeah.
He's got everything he needs. Now, can Orpheus match it? He's heading south, and so far, got nothing.
Yeah.
He will
I don't
go
know if
back
you
to the start.
realized well, Raidman's found the 9. I forgot about that he had that information as well. But it did say, I think on that sign, it also said it's 140 kilometers to General Belgrano, which actually is a fairly large city south of Buenos Aires, but it must have been a different city that was being talked about on that sign because Oliva is definitely more than 140 kilometers away from it.
He's got the town. There we go. With just under a minute and a half left, Orpheus will find the town name and the road number. So now his job will be tracking that, and we'll see him follow in Raidman's footsteps as he pinpoints that curve. And yeah, in the same town again. So again, if anything, it'll be a few points separating them, as Raidman will get an ace in this one.
Yeah, I just looked it up. There is actually like the big big city, but the city south of Buenos Aires is just General Belgrano, and the city that was or town that was actually mentioned on the sign is Villa General Belgrano. That could have been another tricky thing if one of them had actually paid attention to it, but they just went with the road number.
And Orpheus will get that corner. Stands out quite well on the map. An ace for him, even beating Raidman by a meter. So you'll take your victories where you can get them, Calamity. But he has a lot to do in round 5. Quite a few, over 2,000 points to make up now. So it'll be one heck of a round for round 5 if he is to make a comeback in this one.
Yeah, he has to rely on getting a country that's big enough for him to make up that many points, and there really aren't that many of them. You've got probably Russia, maybe the US if you're lucky, maybe Canada.
Maybe
but apart
Brazil,
from that, maybe if it's really rural and you can't find anything, maybe Brazil.
You could guess the wrong side of it. Australia definitely could.
Australia usually you'll find enough to at least get the right side of the island, and at that point it's not enough again. But we'll see what it is.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. As we jump into round number 5, and well, there's no signs at the start for a change.
It's something, at least.
It's something. So now they actually have to go searching for information here. Not just handed to them on a plate.
Yep. The problem Orpheus might have is I played the seed as well afterwards, like I think the day before yesterday. And I realized pretty quickly, okay, this has got to be Uruguay. And Uruguay is not big enough to lose 2,700 points or 2,200 points in. So he has to hope that Raidman doesn't realize that.
Yep. 19,996 for Raidman, 17,721 for Orpheus. So yes, about a 2,200 and some odd point gap. And as long as they're in the right country, Orpheus will be out of luck, and Raidman will be heading to his second final in a row.
And this
So
is actually
far,
this is
nothing.
the first time we've really seen the movement problems come into play in any of the matches we've commentated so far. I think most of the rounds we've had have been pretty like, it doesn't matter too much. You would have probably been a bit faster normally, but in this one, it's really annoying when you're clicking into the distance and moving at snail's pace.
Yep. It is worth noting that Raidman is heading to the south-southwest. Orpheus has been heading sort of north and east, so they are heading in different directions. They're going to see different things, which bodes well for Orpheus if he finds something.
Yeah.
But as he looks in
I
the
guess
distance and sees nothing, he'll decide to turn around. And
now this bodes badly for Orpheus.
yes, because we already know there's 2 minutes of nothing
Yep.
in that direction.
So Orpheus is not going to find anything. Let's see if Raidman will.
45 seconds left is pretty much all down to if Raidman sees anything or if Orpheus gets an unbelievably lucky guess. He takes a peek into the future and sees nothing but despair and an empty dirt road for kilometers ahead.
Yeah, and from playing the seed, I can tell you there is a sign just around the 3 minutes of moving mark. And it'll be interesting if Raidman makes it there and if he can make use of the information that's displayed on it.
Yeah,
Because
checking
it will. There is the sign.
There we go.
10 seconds.
And Orpheus isn't actually too far off. Doesn't quite know it's Uruguay, but it's got the right area and
Does Raidman
right
know where
country
Canelones
for
is?
Raidman.
Yes, sort of, maybe.
He sort of does.
Or he got lucky.
4,936. A little bit lucky with this placement in the last second pin and that sign that Calamity mentioned. We'll seal it though. Orpheus, not a bad guess with having literally nothing. Checking his hemispheres, making sure he is in that southern part of the world. 4,033 from him. So in the end, Calamity, a very decisive victory for Raidman after kind of a disastrous round 1 and just a bit of unluck in round 5 for Orpheus.
Yeah, Orpheus definitely won't be happy with this one. He definitely has shown better performances in the regular season. There was nothing in this one. I think the Argentinian round wasn't bad. That was pretty decent. Although he had pretty much all the information laid out for him. But in all of the other rounds, I guess the Uruguayan one was a bit unlucky, but you probably could have still, been able to tell it was Uruguay rather than Argentina. But I think it was mostly round 1 where he probably thought to himself, okay, it's pretty much over anyway. And then just, nerves got the better of him probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some of the more obvious rounds, you saw his lack of acing ability, so to speak, pinpointing not his forte in terms of how many aces he dropped by just being a little bit off in this final round, but really comes down to the river name in round 1 and just country recognition in round 5. Sees Orpheus have another shot at it maybe next season, as Raidman will advance to the final. And who knows, we could definitely see now with one of our returning finalists a repeat of last season, as we have Boxa and Blinky coming up for you next. So we'll see you in the other semifinal. Take care.
Bye.